These women are breaking rocks at a mid-20th century mining site, performing grueling, physically dangerous labor. In the second image, taken decades later, migrant construction workers carry heavy earth in a modern urban environment, facing many of the same physical hazards. Despite the shared physical risks of their work, these two groups existed in separate legal universes, separated by time and specific industrial categories. The safety protocols for the miner were dictated by the Mines Rules of 1955, while the construction worker relied on the Interstate Migrant Workmen Rules of 1979. Before 2026, the level of protection a worker received was not determined by the danger of the task, but by the specific industry silo and historical era their profession fell into. Beyond these individual sites, managing any diverse business in India meant navigating a labyrinth of isolated safety standards. This diagram illustrates the administrative scale, starting with the 1990 Dock Workers Rules, the 1984 Cinna Workers Rules, the 1976 Sales Promotion Employees Rules, and the 1957 Working Journalists Rules. In total, 15 overlapping regulations govern different corners of the economy. HR departments and regulators often had to reconcile conflicting mandates from rulebooks written across 6 different decades. This fragmented system created gaps where modern safety standards could not legally reach certain workers, making a systemic reset a necessity. That reset was initiated by an official notification from the Ministry of Labor and Employment on May 8, 2026. This document introduced a single framework, the Occupational Safety, Health, and Working Conditions Central Rules. Overhauling decades of labor law required a transition period rather than a sudden change. The draft rules were published on December 30, 2025, starting a 45-day countdown. During this window, workers and businesses could file objections and suggest modifications before the rules were finalized. This procedural transparency provided the legal and public consensus required to move toward a consolidated regulatory system. To implement this, the 2026 document relies on a legal mechanism called supersession. Through this mechanism of supersession, the government entirely replaces the 15 separate, overlapping rulebooks with one single, unified text. Chapter 1 of the new rules demonstrates how this unification moves from theory to practical application. The document creates universal definitions, such as the requirements for an officer in charge of canteen. This specific safety and health role is now defined identically whether the workplace is a movie set, a newsroom, or a coal mine. By standardizing these definitions, the rules remove administrative loopholes and create a single point of accountability for worker facilities across every industry. Looking back at our earlier examples, the rock-breaking miner and the skyscraper construction worker, in the post-2026 landscape, the 2026 code applies a single